Hey everyone, this is Captain Fred Page, and once again we're here at the dock at Collins Incorporated in Smithville, North Carolina. I want to talk to you a little bit about terminology of boats to better help you understand where the terms came from and what the usage is. First thing we want to look at is the bow. The bow of the boat is the front part of the boat, but in medieval times when they were boat building and on through the European models, the bow was called the bow. And the reason it was called the bow is simply for the fact they could actually bow the wood to create the bow, which became our terminology later on in boat building times. Nav lights. Let's look at nav lights. You've got a red, you've got a green. You've got a port side, you've got a starboard side. It's easy to remember. Port is the left, L-E-F-T. Starboard is the right, R-I-G-H-T. You've got more letters in right, you've got more letters in starboard. Thus you have a red light and a green light. Lights came available in 1848 on steamships for navigation purposes. So, port, starboard. Why they call that? Simple. The rudder of old ships was always on the right side. Thus, in Old English, it was steerboard. Today, we brought in starboard. Why is this the port side? Simple. This is the side of the ship that always went to port and docked on this side. The reason being is the rudder in the back, or their steerboard, was on the right side. They didn't want to take the chance of breaking it. Very interesting fact there. Moving on, let's go back here. This is the helm. In this boat, the helm was in the center, thus a center console. In bass boats, runabouts, and other boats, the helm may be on the right side or the left side, but it's still the helm. Terminology, the wheelhouse, because there's a wheel. On sailboats, most of the time, the steering mechanism is in the furthest part back of the boat. It's still called the helm. The top cap that we're looking at right here on both sides is the gunwale. Top cap or gunwale. G-U-N-W-A-L-E. Why is it the gunwale or gunwale? Simple. It's where they used to put the cannons on ships, thus the gunwale. Few little terminology right there. We're going to step down for a minute and we're going to show you a couple of more. They win. Okay, I'm at the back of the boat. Back of the boat here is the transom. It's not the back of the boat, it's the transom. The stern is the back of the boat. We'll get that in just a second. If you can see my finger, this is the drain plug. What it does is drains your bilge after each use. You open this plug and you drain it. The correct terminology is the garboard plug. Why is it a garboard plug? Again, in the old days when you were shipbuilding, the garboard was the first layer of wood that was put on the hull. Thus the garboard plug or the drain plug. Okay, remember, this is the transom. This is the stern. The other corner is the stern too. So this is the port stern and the right side is the what? Starboard stern. Freeboard. You hear a lot of people talking about freeboard. How much freeboard does my boat have? Most of the time, you're going to see where boat dealers, salespeople, average people that have a boat, they're going to call the freeboard from the deck, which is the floor of the boat, to the top of the gunwale. What freeboard is, in true light, is measuring from the water line to the top of the gunwale. That is your true freeboard. Let's talk about dead rise. What is dead rise on a boat? Dead rise on the transom is the amount of angle from each side of the garboard plug or the keel or the bilge plug that's located in the keel area. It's the angle from the center point to each side of the boat, starboard or port. It's measured, as an example, 13 degrees, 21 degrees, 28 degrees. And what that's meaning is the boat can run in rougher water versus running in calm water, and how the boat maneuvers. That is your dead rise. Okay, let's look at the terminology Hawse pipe. What is a Hawse pipe? A lot of times on top caps or the gunwale, you will see an oval tube, maybe in the stern, midship possibly, or even up in the bow area where you're using to tie your boat up to a dock. But what is it? Where did it come from? Again, back in the old days of shipping and boat building, it used to be called a hawser piper. And a hawser piper was someone that just got into the marine industry with no experience whatsoever, and he had to work his way up from the bottom to the wheelhouse or even beyond. So look at the old ships. The anchor came out of the bow. That was a Hawse pipe, but back then it was a hawser pipe. So as the anchor is anchored to the floor of the ocean or lake or river or wherever you are, that's as low as you can get. So this gentleman had to work his way up. In today's terminology, we call it a Hawse pipe. We tie our boat with it. Underneath the Hawse pipe, generally, it'll have a cleat that you can tie to. Well, very interesting fact, a little trivia too. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time. Once again, join us next week for At the Dock.